Hey, gorgeous friends, it's Alyssa here with your August energy update, and we're going to talk about 5 amazing energies that you can work with this month. And as always, at the end, we'll do tips, takeaways, and your favorite questions you can ask yourself to help you expand and uplift your energy. So August is going to be a really powerful month, so be sure to share this video with your friends, like it, and if you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button so that you can get notifications when we upload new videos. Okay, so let's dive into the energies for August. This is a really strong energy month. It's Leo, it's the lion. It's coming in very strong. You can already start to feel it in your energy system, I bet. So the first energy this month is a Switchgear timeline energy. So by the way, make sure to pop your comments in back on the replay because your comments don't stick here. But this Switchgear timeline, when I was tuning into this, really feels kind of amazing. It's the energy coming through that is the image of what I'm seeing, this image of this business person that's always done business in a certain way, and now they're selling everything and they're buying a farm and they're having a retreat center and they're doing life totally differently. And this is the vision that they've always had for themselves, but they never knew how to get. So there's something about this Switchgear timeline that's leading you back to your original energy blueprint that you came into this lifetime with. There's something about this Switchgear timeline that is assisting you with getting back on, or now on, the timeline that is going to be most beneficial and positive to your energetic system. So I actually love this Switchgear timeline energy. It feels like your original blueprint that, by the way, you probably just got off track from. I can remember when I was in my 20s and I knew that my path was a very spiritual path, but I didn't trust my path. And I thought, no, I'm supposed to go into corporate. I'm supposed to do these things. And so that might be you. You might have felt all the shoulds and the supposed tos of life, and you might have gotten yourself a bit off track. So I imagine for those of you who this is resonating with, that the Switchgear timeline is going to be bringing back and pulling through some of your original skill sets. I'm seeing a woman who grew up on stage singing and who's bringing now singing in and through her business, whatever that may be. I'm seeing a man who's always done outdoorsy stuff, but is in corporate America, that's now bringing in his outdoorsy stuff. So whether you're a man or a woman and you sing or outdoorsy, it's about really owning and claiming all parts of you and bringing all of that up to currents and aligning your life from this moment forward with all your updated energetics that you've actually been in the process of integrating. This last couple of years has been you fully integrating old pieces and parts of yourself and peeling away those layers that no longer were in service of you. And so it feels like this new Switchgear timeline is mostly about you pulling forward all of these parts of you and integrating this wholeness, this completeness. I'm seeing this person who was kind of like pixelated before, and now they're this whole beautiful, glowy, bright version of you that can move beautifully through this next phase. So a question to ask yourself right now is, what have you been considering in the back of your mind? What's been what have you been contemplating, or what have you been kind of holding back here because you haven't known the how of it is what's coming through. It's that thing that you've always wanted to do, but you haven't known how. That feels like what's going to start to happen in August. And it really feels like there's this strong energy of bringing through what you've been dreaming about so that you can be supported in doing that. So that's our first energy up, that switchgear timeline, that kind of switching off of what you got sidetracked from, and then bringing all your current energetics into the now moment. There's something to be said here too about infusing higher consciousness into all that you do. So something that you'll want to start to look at if you're not already is how can you ask the consciousness to work with you? If you are creating something new, or if you know that the dream is there. Maybe you are the person that wants the retreat center and you want the farm and for some reason, I'm seeing all these chickens and goats and things running around this farm with this person with this retreat center. And so if that's you, maybe you ask the consciousness, the divine source substance, help me co-create this. Help me co-create what wants to be pulled through me. And that's something that is really, even for some of you, this is coming through so strong. It's like this opportunity of a lifetime energy. And I'm seeing the words opportunity of a lifetime in a marquee with lights, but it doesn't feel like it's fame necessarily. It's just really lighting up for you. So if you've been feeling this opportunity of a lifetime energy and you know that there's this opportunity that you really want to go for, right now the energy is coming through to support that. Just know that that's the energy that's coming through the universe right now. So with that, the more you align to that energy, one of the things I find in my private coaching practice is people often ask a lot of questions that are not supportive of what they want to achieve. For example, if you were trying to lose 100 pounds, an unsupportive question would sound like, is it possible for me to lose 100 pounds? So when you're asking yourself a question of, is it possible for me to do X, Y, or Z, or will I be able to do it? Those are the types of questions that are really not at all supportive of you having what you want. So if you're really feeling this opportunity of a lifetime energy coming through for yourself, if you're in resonance with this, is to catch yourself when you are not asking yourself questions that are supportive of that outcome. Also, to look at the behaviors that you're having. Are your behaviors supportive of the opportunities that you're wanting? I was listening to John Assaraf the other day, who's been a teacher and a mentor of mine that I've never met, by the way, but I've always listened to him and I've always felt of him as a mentor. And one of the things that he talks about a lot is, are your beliefs and actions in alignment with what you say that you want? And so now is a great time to just notice, for some reason, I'm seeing a vision of a woman who wants to lose a pretty significant amount of weight. And she's actually eating pretty healthy, but she's eating all these sweet treats. And even though they're healthy, sweet treats. And so it's the energetics of, if I'm eating 3 and 4 desserts a day, what I would call desserts a day, or if I'm eating 3 and 4 chocolate bars a day, is that in alignment with what I say I want? Are those behaviors in alignment with what I say that I want? So really checking in with yourself, with your energetics, to make sure that what your actions are and the questions you're asking yourself, if that's all lined up with this new opportunity, this opportunity of a lifetime even. So important now more than ever to make sure we are energetically aligned. Otherwise, it's rather difficult to click that energy into place. Again, when I talk to private clients and we'll be working in the energetic fields, I'll be able to see this energy is really out of place, and we'll have to do a lot of work and kind of powering through the energy, as opposed to if you just get into alignment with your actions, thoughts, behaviors, and what the questions you're asking yourself, it really helps to line up the energy very quickly. Let's see. The next energy is, this is a heavier, denser energy. So this is the energy of feeling separated and visiting those lower frequency bandwidths. So if you are feeling separated, if you are feeling separate from your environment, if you're feeling separate from your abundance, if you're feeling separated from your people or your friends, however this is showing up for you right now, there is a bit of an energetic that is showing you where there's separation. And I'll just give you a quick tip and a takeaway with this right now is that when you're feeling that separation, that's showing you the places where we might have a thought or a belief about someone that's keeping us more separated. And usually those thoughts are with judgments attached to them. So for example, let's say that you have a family member who really is in ill health and they're not really doing anything to help themselves. You could possibly have some thoughts and feelings about that. So instead, if you're feeling separated, the instantaneous thing you can do is bring yourself back to love. And you can bring yourself back to that moment of, I love you as you are. In the work that I do in my Miracles portal, we often talk about when I do the channeling work is most people just want to be loved as they are. And the more you can bring through that energy of, I love you as you are, even though I notice the separation, even though it feels wonky, even though you're maybe acting badly, even though I can tell you're in a rough spot, not putting a judgment on them, just truly, truly bringing forward the energy of unconditional love. And that love is so strong, it can actually help people to make the shift if their spirit is willing and ready. And if their spirit is not willing and ready, then it just supports them in general. But if their spirit is willing and ready, they can actually shift into a different type of behavior or way of being very easily, as opposed to if you lock them in with your energetic judgment. So right now is that time where that feeling of being separated, it's okay. It's just something you're going to notice. And when you notice it, offering that separation, unconditional love. That's the elixir. That's the recipe. Another energy that I think you're going to be seeing across the board that is a tougher energy, but again, we run the whole energy spectrum here on these energy updates, is revisiting loss. For some of you, and some of you, it's visiting loss for the first time. So I'm seeing an example of somebody who lost a dear loved one like 15 years ago, and they're going to revisit that emotion through somebody else and have to maybe dig up some of the feelings that they've been feeling about that loss. Interestingly enough, when I was tuning into this energy and really asking, well, what's the purpose of this? The purpose of this energy that I received was to start to think about loss in a different way, not to minimize the loss, not to make the loss not important, but to not energize the loss into your energy system. So meaning, for example, I don't know how many of you here have ever been through a divorce, but you probably don't go around celebrating your divorce date or re-energizing that every year or honoring the date that you got divorced. Because if you did, you would be re-energizing that divorce energy through your system all the time. However, as human beings, that's what we've actually been trained to do through loss. That's how we've learned to deal with the loss of a physical person. So what I gathered through this energy is really understanding loss for yourself in a different way, revisiting it so that you could rewire that connection in somehow that's more beneficial for your energetic system. Now, some of you will be visiting loss for the first time, but I actually got, for many of you, this will be through maybe plants or something that doesn't feel as hard, but that you still get to rewire this through the energy system, and really reminding yourself that this time that we're going through in the planet is a lot about rewiring beliefs. It's a lot about rewiring energy and how what we've thought was right versus wrong. And that's what this time is about. You are literally trying to rewire how being a human is differently than it's been done before. And you are literally on the cutting edge of human technology. So give yourself a round of applause for being here at this crucial time. Let's see, let's end on some positive energies for this month. So some positive energies are activating your inner authority and your inner freedom. You're going to get some chances over the next months even to start to bring more of your own inner authority and your own inner freedom. And so ask yourself, what feels true for you to help you feel more in your power? What feels true for you to help you feel more free? Some people with freedom, they feel like having food storage and growing things on hand and all of these like physical things, they feel like that's going to give them more freedom. Now, on the other end of that energy spectrum, some people feel like less is more. I can manifest in the moment. I don't really need anything. I can travel very light. And in fact, the more light I am, the better I can travel more freely. So again, really remembering that there is no right or wrong here. You want to simply just tap into your energetic system and ask what feels true for you now to have more freedom, and what feels true for you now to use more of your own inner authority. And interestingly enough, you'll want to apply the same principles here of not judging other people for what feels true for them. You know, a quick YouTube search will show you how many different ways there are to believe about any given situation right now on this planet. There's so many different beliefs active in the field about any one topic. So the more you remember that right now is about you knowing what's true for you, about you tapping into your personal power and then not projecting that outward. What's happened in the past is that one person has said, well, this is what's true for me, and therefore this should be true for everybody. And that's not how our planet really operates. And we've been under the false premise or the false construct of what's true for one person is true for all. And we're all learning in some very difficult ways and some very fun and delightful ways that that's just not the case. And so the more you can be true to you and honor what is somebody else's truth, even when you're diametrically opposed to how they are behaving, the more you can honor that both things can be true. It's interesting, for those of you who spend a lot of time in fifth dimensional and above consciousness, you're holding more than just your ego consciousness. You're holding heart consciousness, and you're holding oneness consciousness. You're holding your I am presence consciousness. You're holding multiple layers of consciousness, not just the ego's consciousness. For those of you, it might very well feel like you are having to practice this more so than ever, because what's really true for you is not true for somebody who's not in that consciousness. And you can just see that very clearly. And the person who's more in ego consciousness, the person who's more in that third dimensional, lower chakra system, survival-based consciousness, what's true for them, really, it's not at all true for you in any way, form, or fashion. So there's something to be said for just acknowledging the difference. There's something to be said to just being okay with those truths being different. It's almost like saying it's okay for this person to be in college and it's okay for this person to be in third grade. And that's just the isness of it. And it's okay. We don't have to judge it. It's not right or wrong. The person in third grade's moving up and they may choose to go to college or they may not. And the person who's in college may choose to get their PhD or they may choose to go into life and get their PhD through life. So that's what's happening right now is you're activating more of that inner authority. You're activating more of that inner freedom. And as you do that, you'll be given some opportunities to see it, to really see it and to do it differently. So, and I won't get into all of that. So just be asking yourself, what does total freedom mean for you? What does a personal authority mean for you? What would it feel like to do things that were more in alignment with you having more freedom? And that will help you really, truly start to bring in and bring forward more of that. Okay, let's talk about the final energy. And I'm feeling it overall. I wrote it down as a system uplift. So a system uplift feels really exciting, but when I asked, well, what does this mean, a system uplift? It's like for those of you who have been struggling with something in particular was the guidance. If you've been struggling with relationships, if you've been struggling with finances or health, there's an overall energy of you getting a systematic upliftment that's sort of outside of you to help you bolster this. And I'm seeing this analogy, or I'm seeing this woman actually who's been in a relationship for many, many years. And she's just kind of at her wit's end about it. And it's the same old nonsense again and again. And she just doesn't know what to do anymore. And there's this system uplift that's almost going to help both of them rewire this relationship together to where it just feels better, to where it's just more aligned, to where it's more loving and compassionate. So that's the energy I'm feeling with this overall system uplift. It's something quite big in your energy system. So I'd love for you to tell me now we're on the replay what you're feeling this system uplift is for you. You'll know it straight away. It's something that it's big. You've been dealing with this probably for the last couple of years. It feels like for some of you at least. It's a very old, clingy type energy. So right now, especially in and through this Lionsgate portal, which I'm going to do a special energy update about, and I've got a special Lionsgate portal call that I'll be popping a link to below this video and up in my link tree that you can join that call. It's totally free. I'd love to have you. And in this overall system uplift, it's really coming through in the most potent time between now and this Lionsgate 8/8 portal time frame. So tap into this here and ask yourself, what is it that really wants to get uplifted for me? And just ask your divine I am presence, ask the universe to send you more of that energy, really aligning your energetic system with that. I'm open to receive more of this energy. I'm open to have a complete and total healing around this. I'm open to completely rewire this in my system. That's really going to help you. That energy and you opening and expanding to it is going to be super positive and beneficial for you. Let's see. Let's go into some tips and takeaways now and some questions to ask yourself. So the number one tip I'm really seeing for many people is cleaning up your body vehicle. That means self-care. That means exercise. That means food and nutrition. The more you align your physical vehicle, the more you're going to be able to hear and perceive the truth. For example, one of my skills, and you have this too, by the way, is I can look at a picture or I can look at an email and I can get the energy from it. And people don't even have to tell me what's going on. I'll just be able to pull the energy. You can do this too. It's just, is your system cleaned up enough to allow that amount of information in? From a scientific perspective, I'll tell you how this works. It's not woo-woo at all, actually, which is what I love. I'm woo-woo, but this is not woo-woo. Your brain can only take in so many bits of information at once, or so you've been told. However, I'm here to tell you that once you clean up your energy system, once you clean out the static in your channel and the clogs, and you learn how to use your brain waves, you can actually pull in a massive, vast amount of information or frequency that you wouldn't have been able to do before. Your light spectrum will open up. Right? Your information spectrum will open up. And this is one of the main reasons why I recommend to clients that they deal with their body channel. And inevitably, every single person tells me, oh my gosh, I'm so much more intuitive now. Oh my gosh, I hear so many more messages for myself. Oh my gosh, I'm able to read energy. I'm able to command energy better. It's for a scientific reason. It's because your channel is clear, your mind's not all bogged down, and you're able to pull more of the information that's available to you. Scientists will tell you that the information's there, it's just the brain's not activated enough to receive it. So that's really the goal. Get that body channel cleared up. Another thing to do along these lines is listen to brain wave frequencies or entrain your brain waves. There's a reason why I used to suffer from a lot of anxiety and depression, and I don't now. And that's because I've done an extraordinary amount of work on entraining my brain waves. And that means I meditate every single day. I practice balancing those hemispheres. And when your hemispheres are balanced, you just have access to more information. It's amazing what you'll see and what you'll feel and what you'll notice and how you'll be able to work with the energies. And a lot of people think, like it takes magical powers. It does not. It just takes cleaning up your channel and opening yourself and working with your physical body vehicle. So I hope that's helpful to you, and make sure to ask me questions about that. The next thing that you'll want to really tune in for you is what feels true about the changes that are coming, what feels true about what you want to align with for you. And whatever that is, do your best to stay aligned with your truth, because the more you're aligned with your truth, the more on your timeline that you're supposed to be on, you'll be. It doesn't, the universe has no judgment on it. So just as long as you're aligned with your truth, it means that it'll be, a nicer path for you. It'll be more the soul lessons that you're supposed to be learning, as opposed to if you allow yourself to be convinced or coerced or, what is it that happened when we were kids? That peer pressure, getting peer pressure to do something that's not in alignment with your truth. That's what you want to be on the lookout for right now, is making sure that you're not succumbing to peer pressure, that you're not succumbing to like the shoulds of the world and the shoulds even of the mind, that you're tapped into your heart and the truth of that and your divine connection and operating from that space. It is a practice, I will tell you. It's sometimes harder from personal experience to say, okay, logical mind, I know what you're saying and here's what I'm feeling, and to allow yourself to go with a feeling. Let yourself experiment with just going with a feeling and see where it takes you. From my experience, it's always taken me someplace far beyond what I can imagine and far more amazing and yummy than I could have scripted myself. In fact, I always tell people, I can't even write this good. I mean, I write for part of my living and I can't write it this well. So when you act from the heart and you're divine connection, you'll notice that it's much more amazing, much, much more. And then ask yourself, what have you been wanting to create? What do you notice about what you really, truly want? And what are the stories you tell yourself about that? Journal about that. What is it that you really, truly want? And what are the stories that you tell yourself? For example, I hear a lot of people say, well, this might be hard, or it'll take me years. And I'm a big believer in instant manifesting. I'm a big believer in working with the energy to create an outcome overnight. So the invitation here is for you to check yourself when you're telling yourself stories and make sure that it's a story that is supportive of what you want, as opposed to not supporting what you want. Okay, my friends, so that is the energy updates for today. Once again, a switchgear timeline, which I think you're going to find is going to put you right where your sweet spot is, with those skills, talents, and abilities that you've always had, but that now you own fully and that you're able to bring forward in a complete package. It's that blueprint of you that's coming into this now moment. It's the what have you been dreaming about and really bringing it through. It's the energy of feeling some separation, but injecting that unconditional love into each and every situation and seeing what can transpire when you do that. It's revisiting loss for some of you, or feeling a loss, but rewiring that loss and how that is to be a human being and how that is to feel loss through our systems, and rewiring that to remember that you are a spiritual being, a spiritual entity, a spiritual body of light inhabiting this skin suit, this flesh suit for now, right? When you pass on, your spirit kind of forgets the human experience. It's like, yeah, that's cool, and I'm off to the next thing. You don't really spend a lot of time thinking back to what this physical vehicle did. So really reminding yourself the truth of you are a vast, vast being of light. You are a vast being of consciousness. And the more you can tap into that consciousness, invite it into your daily experience, you will feel more balanced and grounded and centered and connected. And the more you clean up your body's vehicle, the more you'll have access to that beautiful, gorgeous wisdom that is you, that's directly connected to source energy and all that is. And then our last energy is activating your inner authority, your inner truth, and that system uplift. So I am so excited about August. Make sure that you tune back in. For those of you who are here new this week, make sure you tune back in. We'll have a special 8/8 portal energy update, and then I'm also going to do an 8/8 portal tune up, an energy tune up. So make sure to sign up that. The link will be up in the link tree. And I want to thank you for sharing this video. Thank you for liking it. It really helps support me, this channel. It also helps support your friends, because here's the thing, they're going through the same thing you are. So the more we support each other and just let each other know, hey, I care about you. Hey, I'm thinking about you, the more it's going to help the planet right now. I want to thank you for being here. Thank you for tuning in, and just thank you for all that you're doing just by being here, being alive on the planet. I love you so, so much, and bye for now.